I'm Joe Reed, and this is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. Emily Connelly is with me. She's with me for the whole week. And Emily, what do you have for us today?
Today, I have another really great sort of escapist listen, but a different kind. It's a fantasy audiobook that's really full of nostalgia.
Surprise, surprise, Emily suggesting fantasy.
Yeah, it's another Earphones Award winner, and it was one that I saw a good review of it and I started listening and I couldn't put it down. It's really great, especially for anyone who loved reading about Narnia and other sort of like portal fantasies into other worlds when they were kids, because that's really a big part of what we have here. And
And what's the name and who's the narrator?
it is The Lost Story by Meg Shaffer, and it's narrated by Jorjeana Marie. And Georgina does a really lovely
Okay.
job narrating this story that has lots of magic and danger and feelings and fun with storytelling devices too.
Well, she does a lot of YA and young people's books. I mean, she does do a range of books, but she really is known for that. So that's not surprising, right?
Yeah, not surprising at all. And the story begins where we have these two boys, Jeremy and Rafe, who have been lost for 6 months and they're emerging from the forest. They've been lost in there for 6 months. People have searched and searched and never found them. And they come out, and we hear about that in the sound sample that I have for us. And then we jump 15 years into the future. We don't really know what's going on with Jeremy and Rafe at the beginning, but we know that this woman, Emily, who's grieving her mother's death, has just learned of a half sister. She was adopted. And so now she finds out that she had a sister who also disappeared as a child in those same woods where Jeremy and Rafe were gone. And then we learn in the intervening years, Jeremy's become a really sort of astounding finder of lost girls and women. And Emily convinces him to try and help find her sister who went missing so long ago, like 18 years ago.
This is very
It's
complicated.
complicated, but basically, you find out that they had disappeared into the woods into another world. There was a portal into another world. And so they have to go in there and explore there and see what might have happened to the sister.
And they never tell anybody they went into another world?
Well, we find out more about that in the story, but Rafe he couldn't remember anything about what happened. It was only Jeremy who knew. So that is part of the story that you get to find out more about. And Georgina, I love getting to listen to her narration of this, and she switches between the characters so well, but there's also sort of a overarching storyteller in the story who has a great voice and is talking about like what different fairy tales are like, what we should expect and not expect in this story, jumping in different parts of the narration. And I thought I just had a particularly fun time hearing her voice that sort of omniscient character.
It's hard to do that, and I love it when narrators can just nail that.
But we can listen to it.
Well, why don't we listen? Yeah, I want to, please. So set this up.
So this is from the very beginning where we're getting to hear a bit about these lost boys.
Okay, this is The Lost Story. It's by Meg Shaffer and read by Jorjeana Marie.
Once upon a time in West Virginia, two boys went missing. They'd been missing since May, vanished during an end-of-school field trip to Red Crow State Forest. They were gone long enough that people had stopped referring to them as missing, which implied a temporary state of being, and now simply called them lost. You looked for missing children. You mourned lost ones. By that November, the boys' missing posters on the signboard at Red Crow had faded and wrinkled behind the protective plexiglass. When Maggie and Tom noticed the posters while looking for the trail map, they remembered that they'd forgotten all about the lost boys. Because that's how it worked. First you were missing. Then you were lost. Then you were forgotten.
I think her voice is so inviting. I feel like I'm being drawn into the story. And she really is especially good, I think, at portraying complicated characters, which I'm sure helps as we get into the meat of the book.
Yes, definitely. I really thought she did a great job with navigating the story. That obviously I got kind of caught up in explaining all the nitty-gritty details, but she really just carries you along in the story, and I was really captivated. It was a lot of fun to get to listen to.
Okay, that is The Lost Story by Meg Shaffer, read by Jorjeana Marie. Excellent, Emily. I will chat with you tomorrow.
Great, talk to you then.
Okay. Brilliance Publishing brings you the sound of storytelling and is the sponsor of today's episode of Behind the Mic. And you should hop over to audiofilemagazine.com, where you can find reviews for literally hundreds and hundreds of audiobooks, so you can make an informed listening choice. I'm Jo Reed. I'll talk to you tomorrow.